So my name is Ayush Agrawal. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Seniority Pvt Limited. We run an e-commerce store called www.seniority.in and a chain of retail stores across Pune and Coimbatore, with more coming up in a few years. So 3 years ago, when we started talking about starting Seniority, a business, we were looking at various trends in India, how India has been evolving over the past few years, and a few things sort of stood out very sharply for us. One was rise in income levels of senior citizens. So, with the 5th pay commission, 6th pay commission, 7th pay commission, increasing sort of pension amounts, increasing incomes, right? But at the same time, as the incomes were going up, we also saw a rise in disposable income, as well as a willingness for people to spend on themselves. So that savviness was something that was probably not as prevalent 10-15 years ago in India, when senior citizens used to think that whatever money I've earned in my lifetime is supposed to be given as an inheritance to my children, right? That shift is something that has happened in India in the last 10-15 years, where seniors are more comfortable spending on themselves. We've seen this in various industries in India. So you see a Thomas Cook or a Cox and Kings or a Kesari Travels having dedicated wings for senior citizen travel, with certain of their features and functionalities being changed to suit senior citizens. You see senior living. You see a lot of real estate players have gotten into the senior living industry. So you have a Athashri from Paranjpe, you have an Ashiana, you have Kovai Care in Coimbatore. You have a lot of these guys who are sort of entrenched in the real estate market, but they recognize the need for senior living, right? And you see a lot of well-established companies bringing out products specifically for senior citizens. So you have a very well-known name, HMV Saregama, launching a product like the Carvaan, which sort of takes all of their music from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and makes it into this nice, easily digestible, easily consumable format of that Carvaan radio, and people can just sort of switch it on and forget it. And these kind of products have been sort of super hits, right? So we recognized that there was a need, that this consumer existed. There was a need for where they wanted to spend their money, and clearly there was sort of a gap in the market, and that is what we wanted to sort of fulfill. I mentioned the rise in pensions. There is a change in psychography. There is the change in the way they perceive their income and themselves, and how willing they are to spend on themselves. There is also, of course, the case of the population itself going up. So as per the 2001 census, the 60 plus age group was only 8% of the population. As per the 2011 census, the 60 plus population grew to 10%. Projections imply that by 2041, this number will be 19 to 20% of our overall population. So while India's population is growing at 2% year on year, the 60 plus age group is actually growing at 4% year on year. So one very key assumption that people make of India being a young country, while it is true, India is a young country, but people forget that India is a rapidly aging country, right? The 60 plus age group is actually the fastest growing demographic in India today, right? And at the same time, with this increasing population, we are seeing a rise in nuclearization as well. So you have senior citizens living in certain, all across the country, but their children have migrated to the cities. They've migrated to Bangalore, Bombay, Pune, New Delhi, Gurgaon, or maybe the US, Canada. And you have the empty nest syndrome becoming more and more prominent in India. And these are the sort of trends that you saw in the US 10-15 years ago, with the baby boomer population coming in a big way. These are the sort of trends you saw in Japan 20 years ago, right? With their sort of post-World War population coming back, and them coming back to prosperity. And clearly we see that trend in India today, and therefore being able to get on top of that as soon as possible and with the right offering. So for us, there are more than 120 million seniors in India today. So that's like 12 crore people. You would assume that they have their caregivers as well. So you have consumption on two fronts. One is seniors being savvier and being willing to spend on themselves. So that is a 12 crore consumer base across India. And you have their caregivers who most likely are not staying with them, who have their own incomes, who want to do well for their parents, who want to sort of spend money on their parents but have no outlet. And therefore that is another sort of a 24-30 crore consuming group that wants to spend money for their parents and doesn't have an outlet. So between the two, we are estimating the market to be anywhere between $1.5 to $2.5 billion in India today. So Seniority started in mid 2016. That is when we started our initial forays into the market, starting to build out the store, build out the website, our initial set of vendor relationships. Business started in Feb 2017. In the initial days, a lot of the products that we carried for senior citizens were of the medical or the orthopedic variety, so blood pressure monitors, back support, wheelchairs, walking sticks, walkers, etc. Over time, we realized that the true demand in the market and the true gap in the market was actually with the lifestyle and the gifting products, right? So the Karma was a super hit product for us. We have products like anchor stitch kits, which are sort of these embroidery kits, which are great sort of hobby products for mothers and grandmothers. Kitchen products do very well for us. Gardening products do very well for us, right? So for us, we want to be the one-stop shop, the first port of call for all seniors and their caregivers for all of their product and gifting needs for senior citizens. So for us, when we look at a lot of our competitors who are aggregating products for seniors, we feel that they're still caught up in the regressive thinking of seniors being needy, seniors being disabled, and therefore their product portfolios reflect that, right? So their product portfolios are almost exclusively medical need products or sort of disability products, right? We've actually taken a very different swing at this, right? Our tagline is Live Evergreen. Our product portfolio reflects that, right? Our key differentiator is that we talk about seniority or being a senior citizen as being a second innings, right? That you are not disabled. You might have slightly different needs, and we are here to provide for those needs. So your medical needs are there, of course, but your lifestyle needs, you have hobbies, you are active, you want to go out and play, you want to exercise, you want to go after your hobbies in a big way. We are here to provide for all of those needs and wants as well. So over the course of the last 2 years since we started the business, we now have almost 2.5 lakh customers, and more importantly, on our social media, we have more than 3.5 lakh followers. As we sort of progress in the coming days, we don't want to be seen as just sellers of product. So of course, we want to continue expanding our reach pan-India. We want to continue expanding our presence in people's minds, but that is not all. We don't want to be seen as just sellers of products. We actually want to become an integral part of the seniors' lives, right? So we are doing a lot of activities in Pune and Coimbatore currently to actually build a community here, right? So people come in here, we do our Zumba events, karaoke, yoga sessions, etc. Over here. Last year, on the occasion of International Yoga Day, we actually had this yoga event conducted at a joggers park near our store in Pune. Almost 400 citizens attended with almost zero marketing spend. This is all word of mouth, our community sort of activating and bringing people together. And that event was actually listed in the Limca Book of Records as the largest gathering of senior citizens doing yoga all at once. So there's a great power in community, and we want to harness the senior citizen community over the course of the next 2 years and bring them all together on one platform, be it knowledge sharing, be it events, be it casual meetups, whatever it may be.